Let's switch it over to Stop Me When. You know you love this game. It's Stop Me When you find a better player than James Worthy. Obviously, we brought him up last episode as your guest in Winning 7. You thought, we were talking about James Worthy, but we were talking about another great power forward in Dirk Nowitzki. So I had to bring it back, man. James Worthy, all right? So Stop Me When, all right? You ready for this?
I mean, I also said Tim Duncan, to be fair.
You did.
Yeah, go ahead. Just go ahead. You know I suck at these. You do this on purpose.
Yeah, so just stop me when you have a better player than James Worthy, all right? Rasheed Wallace.
I'm not stopping you for no damn Rasheed Wallace. I was a fan of Rasheed, too. I actually hate that I agree with Draymond Green when they were trash talking, but Draymond Green said, your Pistons team is not stopping the Splash Bros and my Warriors in their prime. And he's absolutely right. And he said, we would just put you on the move and put you in a blender, bro.
And he's wearing the Air Forces or whatever.
I hate agreeing with Draymond, but he's absolutely right. And I love Sheed. Big fan. Obviously, growing up in that D.C. area, he played for the Bullets at that time, and everyone loved Sheed.
Yeah.
But, we're talking about James Worthy.
Right.
Here.
He would be better in this era than he was then. But
Facts.
all right.
Facts.
Robert Parrish.
Look, I'm going to be respectful.
Yeah.
Because of where I'm at.
Where you're at. You're in Boston. Remember that.
All hail the Chief, I'm taking James Worthy.
Okay. What about Zoe? Alonzo Mourning.
Oh, okay. This is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
James Worthy was a better pure scorer, I believe, than Alonzo Mourning.
Yeah, I would say so.
But he also had the benefit of being on Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
Zoe didn't have that benefit.
Yep.
Now, he wasn't on terrible teams.
No. He won a chip.
Even in Charlotte, like going back.
Yep.
But he was the focal point, especially in the Charlotte years, even certain years in Miami. As he got older, he got a better supporting cast for that ring you're talking about.
Yep.
This is a very good one. I would still go James Worthy.
Okay.
But I always respected what Zoe brought in terms of leadership, toughness, grit, defense. He had that dog.
Yep.
But it's tough for me. Some of this could be romanticized, too, in my head because I didn't really watch Worthy's entire career.
Of course.
And I saw Zoe's entire career.
Right.
So some of I'll admit, some of that is probably like romanticized of like James Worthy is this. But that's a very good one. I will go James Worthy. That's a 12-round bout right there.
Yeah. All right. What about Tracy McGrady?
I have to go Tracy McGrady in terms of gifts. Pure, raw. I mean, he was just there's a lot of players I would actually take Tracy McGrady over. But, they play different positions.
Yep.
This is obviously what we're doing. This exercise here is just who's a better player. Like if we're running pickup, and I got both guys in their prime, I'm taking Tracy McGrady. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just being real. I'm not saying he had a better career.
No.
I'm taking Tracy McGrady.
I think it's tough. You know what I mean? Just going back to knowing who James Worthy was at UNC. You know what I mean? Before he even got to the league, how much of a killer.
He's a star. He was a star. He's a Hall of Famer.
But, I don't hate that take. I think, T-Mac's a great player, of course. So, all right, we'll keep it rolling, though. Carmelo Anthony.
It's also showing our age. Old timers are going nuts right now.
Yes.
Look, I covered Melo all the way through. I covered him in high school. I got to go James Worthy. I just think, look, let me say this respectfully. If Melo was on the Showtime Lakers, he would have been just fine. And he would have got the rings, right?
Right.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
And so in the same way where I'm like, look, I watched Zoe be the man and actually do a great job at it.
Yeah.
And he never had the horses around him until he got older and he got a ring.
Yep.
He aged gracefully. There's something to be said for being able to age and be in the league to then be on a greater team where your individual accolades have already been accomplished. Yeah. There's something to be said for that. You deserve credit for that.
Right.
I don't think Melo aged well.
Right.
And I think because a lot of players that we see, I don't think he took it as serious as a Kobe or whatever. So, or a LeBron.
Yep.
I'm going to go James Worthy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go James Worthy for the same reasons, just because I think Melo there's some grace and being able to know that, hey, I'm not the number one guy. Obviously, James Worthy, a number one overall pick in the NBA draft, and not the number one guy on his team. Obviously, we know he's probably the third guy.
That's right.
On his championship teams. So it's grace in being able to accept that role.
Yeah.
It took Melo way too long to accept that he couldn't be the best player on the championship team.
And it should be noted because we brought up Tracy McGrady, right?
Yeah.
He didn't win anything either of note, but injuries derailed him.
Yep.
Right? Melo, that wasn't the case. Melo just kind of faded away.
Yeah. All right. What about Blake Griffin?
Stop. James Worthy.
Okay.
It's not even worth. What are we doing? Dunk contest? Blake Griffin. Or what are we doing? We jumping over Kias?
Yeah.
Okay, Blake, come with me. No Kias?
Yeah.
James Worthy, thanks.
What about this one? This one was interesting for me. Dennis Rodman.
I would. It is interesting.
Yeah.
I would go Worthy because of the scoring, but I get it. Like that's a fair discussion.
Yeah.
Defensively, forget it. Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Rebounds, we know, right?
Right.
I think Worthy because of the scoring and also the leadership too.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman was a pain in the ass. Dennis Rodman needed leaders around him to keep him corralled.
Right.
James Worthy could be the leader in your locker room if it presented itself. He never really had to be. Yep. He was a leader in his locker room. He didn't need to be but I'd be completely comfortable if James Worthy's on the Rockets or something in his playing career, being the best player and also the leader in the locker room.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman ain't leading anyone except all of y'all to the bar or the strip club. Like, come on.
100%. What about Dwight Howard?
James Worthy. Dwight Howard's a head case. Gifted as all get out.
Yep.
It should be Dwight Howard.
It should be.
But upstairs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
James Worthy.
What about Paul Pierce?
You're gonna name the whole damn league? I'd take Paul Pierce.
Yep.
I would. Paul Pierce was the man on bad teams forever, got the stats, got the individual accolades. That's part of this. And then when he got the guys around him, he proved he could be a champion.
Yep.
He had that dog in him. He played defense. Yep. I told you, I'm a big Paul Pierce fan in terms of I think he's one of the most underrated stars of all time.
Yeah, and then last one.
All right.
Tim Duncan. This is easy.
Tim Duncan. Boring, but so was James Worthy.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan's better at him than being boring, too. All right, I want to ask you this because we're in the finals here.
Yep.
So you and I were talking about this the other day, and it was an argument. So I'm going to bring everyone behind the scenes. We were talking about the LeBron block in Game 7 of the 2016 finals where they beat the Warriors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we agreed together. I don't know where we disconnected because we agreed together at the same time that, yes, that is an all-time moment, if not the all-time moment in finals history.
Yep.
Where I believe, disconnected was I mentioned Giannis's block on DeAndre Ayton in their finals a few years back, and I said, it's not as great as LeBron's, but it's not talked about enough. Somehow communications got crossed or something happened where I felt like you were ready to fight. You wanted to run a fade with me as if I were saying Giannis's block was better, which I never said.
Yep.
So, sir, let's talk about the top 3 moments in NBA Finals history.
Yep.
I just want you to know I did not include Giannis's block, but I did include LeBron.
Look, West Coast dudes do fades, right? So I'm just playing. We're not fighting.
I thought you wanted to run the fade when I said it. I'm not going to lie.